At Super Bowl 1984, Apple premiered the greatest ad of all time, an ad that redefined what an ad was. Back in the 80s, when most ads were trying to sell you stuff using models and flashy imagery, this ad used none of that. In fact, you wouldn't know what it was even advertising by just looking at it. It was an ad for a computer, except at no point in the ad is a computer ever shown. All that is shown at the end of the ad is a message announcing the computer, not a picture or video of the computer, just text. The genius of Apple's 1984 ad was next level. The ad was based on George Orwell's 1984 novel. It depicted IBM, the then leader and dominant force in the computer industry, as the big brother spoken of in Orwell's novel, and it depicted the upcoming Macintosh as the one to save us from Big Brother's dystopia. This ad changed the Super Bowl forever. Before this ad, nobody watched the Super Bowl just to see the ads. Nowadays, Super Bowl ads are more talked about than the actual Super Bowl game itself, and it all started with Apple's 1984 ad. It redefined what a great ad was. Instead of bombarding people with pictures and videos of a product and telling them how great it is and why they should buy it, Apple simply told you if you didn't buy this computer, the world as you knew it was going to end. This is the story of the mythical Macintosh computer, the ad that sold it to the world, and how Big Brother won. The story behind the 1984 ad is quite fascinating. The idea for the ad came from the California-based advertising firm, Chiat Day. They came up with the concept in 1982 and tried to pitch it to several different companies, but no one wanted to use it. Among the people initially pitched were Apple executives, who were pitched the idea in 1982 for use in the marketing of the Apple II computer, but they too turned down Chiat Day. This all changed when Steve Jobs heard about the ad. It was no secret that Steve Jobs hated IBM. He thought of personal computers as cool and fun, while he saw IBM as the complete opposite. IBM was an old big business that standardized business operations into boring step-by-step procedures. Steve Jobs didn't want the personal computer industry to turn out the same way. He liked the idea of misfits paving the way to a better future. In Steve Jobs' mind, if IBM dominated the personal computer industry, the world would become dystopian. Thus, Chiat Day could not have found a better person to pitch the ad to. IBM needed to be stopped, and Steve Jobs believed Apple was the one who was going to free us all from Big Brother. The ad was directed by Ridley Scott, the director of the 1982 sci-fi blockbuster Blade Runner, which was quite successful. Ridley was the perfect person for the job and went to great lengths to create the 1984 masterpiece. He hired skinheads in England for $125 a day to play mute bald men who were under the command of the evil Big Brother shown on the large TV. Ridley recruited Anya Major, a former professional discus thrower and actress, to play the unknown heroine that throws the sledgehammer that shatters Big Brother's image. Ridley chose to shoot the ad in London, England, and the total production cost for the ad was $900,000. When Jobs and the Chiat Day team presented the finished ad to the Apple board of directors, they hated it, with some directors calling for the advertising firm Chiat Day to be fired immediately. Chiat Day at this point, in anticipation of Apple's board of directors approving the ad, had bought 2 Super Bowl ad slots costing $1 million. Apple CEO John Sculley immediately ordered Chiat Day to sell off the ad slots, as he had no intention to air the ad at the Super Bowl. Jay Chiat, the head of Chiat Day, secretly resisted this order by only selling off one of the slots and lying to Sculley that it was too late to sell the other slot. This act of secret rebellion allowed the ad to be aired at Super Bowl 84. So in the third quarter of Super Bowl 84, the ad break hits and the ad starts. We see a world of mind-controlled men in all grey, staring at a television screen showing the face of Big Brother, talking about information purification. Then suddenly, a woman appears in vibrant red shorts and a white tank top bearing the Mac logo. She is running from riot police, heading directly towards the television screen of Big Brother. Just before the police catch up to her, she throws a sledgehammer toward Big Brother's screen, smashing it just after Big Brother says, "We shall prevail." The smashing of the screen causes a bright white light, which literally makes the brainwashed people see the light, freeing them from their brainwashing. The imagery was clear to see. Big Brother was big and blue, which was also IBM's nickname, Big Blue, and our heroine was wearing a Mac tank top. At the end of the ad, a number reads out the announcement. On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh, and you will see why 1984 won't be like 1984. An Apple logo is shown, and then boom, back to the game. No computer ever appears during the entire ad. The ad was groundbreaking. Apple had just told us that the upcoming Mac was going to save us from IBM. That was a bold statement to make, given that they didn't even show people what the Mac would look like. Millions were left stunned, wondering what they had just seen. Viewers of the Super Bowl would be forgiven if they couldn't remember what happened during the rest of the game after the ad. They had just seen an ad that amounted to a manifesto calling for the public to save itself from Big Brother by buying a computer. This computer was touted to be the beginning of the next revolution in the computer industry. But did this computer live up to the hype? Did it save us from Big Brother? Before the launch of the Macintosh, Apple had begun struggling. In the late 70s, they released the Apple II, which was one of the first personal computers and quickly became one of the most popular computers, giving Apple a significant market share of the early computer industry. Then in 1981, IBM came to the party, releasing its own PC, which quickly surpassed Apple II sales. In response, Apple released the Apple Lisa. The Lisa's graphical user interface was ahead of its time, and the computer was amazing. But it was a complete commercial flop, with a hefty price tag of $10,000 and barely any third-party applications. Very few people were willing to buy it. So with IBM enjoying massive commercial success at the expense of Apple, Apple desperately needed a product that would be a commercial success. And the Macintosh was meant to be that computer that would fight back against Big Blue and wrestle the computer industry away from its claws. Upon its release on January the 24th, 1984, Macintosh was well received, and within 4 months it had sold over 70,000 units. The Macintosh ultimately became one of the first successful mass-market all-in-one desktop personal computers with a graphical user interface. The computer sold so well that it reportedly outsold the IBM PC Junior, which was released around the same time. Apple and Steve Jobs had just successfully landed a blow on IBM, but there was one problem. IBM wasn't the enemy Steve Jobs thought it was. Secretly in the background of the computer industry, the real Big Brother was quietly gaining control of the entire computer industry. During the intense competition of the 80s computer industry, many had not yet figured out that the real business in the computer industry was not in hardware but in software. Before IBM released its first personal computer, it reached out to a little-known company to have them create an operating system for their upcoming computer. The software company asked IBM to retain the rights to their software and be allowed to sell it to other computer companies. IBM, foolishly thinking that all the money in PCs was in hardware, agreed to the arrangement. The company in question was Microsoft, and from that simple agreement, IBM accidentally created Big Brother. As time went on, Microsoft licensed the very same operating system it had licensed to IBM to other computer vendors, and before long it became an industry norm that if you were going to build a computer, there was practically only one option for the operating system, and that was Microsoft. So as the computer industry matured and PCs became more standardized, the blossoming world of the early PC industry, which was filled with all types of computers and software, all became Microsoft OS based computers. With every passing year, Microsoft kept gaining market share and bullied PC manufacturers into using its operating system. It forced some vendors to pay for every operating system they had installed on their PCs, even if it wasn't a Microsoft OS. Companies like Amiga and its Amiga OS, Commodore, and a slew of other companies who had their own ideas for what an operating system was and how it was meant to look and work, all got gobbled up by the Microsoft monster. Microsoft's ruthlessness killed off pretty much all innovation in the PC operating system industry and doomed the world to the unimaginative series of Microsoft operating systems we have today. All PCs essentially became clones of themselves. They all looked the same. One may be more powerful, another less expensive, but at the end of the day, they were all Microsoft OS computers. If this sounds familiar, I'm talking about the modern PC world. In the 80s, Steve Jobs feared that if IBM dominated the PC industry, we would enter an age devoid of innovation. That was true, but the real enemy wasn't IBM, it was Bill Gates and Microsoft. Our modern world is Windows hell. The optimism of the early PC industry that imagined computers as these near magical machines that would soon empower us to do anything ultimately became a Windows PC wasteland with nice looking Apple computers and a few Linux PC outliers. Microsoft single-handedly robbed the world of over 3 decades of innovation. In the past 30 years, there hasn't been any real innovation in desktop operating system besides the pixel shuffling they call a new and improved user interface every time we get a new Windows operating system. Microsoft became Big Brother, and Big Brother won and still rules the world today. Apple promised to save us from this eventuality, but they were looking at the wrong enemy. Thank you for watching.